What's one of the easiest edible flowers to grow in your kitchen garden? It's this one, and I'm going to teach you all about it in this video. Welcome to Gardenary. Garden plus ordinary equals gardenary. Gardenary exists to bring you to the next level in your own gardening journey. I'm Nicole Burke, and I'm so glad you're here. So make sure you subscribe to the Gardenary channel, hit that little bell so you know every time that we drop a new video, and let's get talking about edible flowers, especially this one. All right, today I want to tell you all about Calendula. Calendula is one of the easiest flowers to grow in a kitchen garden. At least I've had tons of success with it, and the very first year I grew it, I had success. So I'm pretty sure you're going to have success too. Calendula is actually in the aster family. The aster family includes lettuces and sunflowers and daisies. And believe it or not, the aster plant family actually likes pretty cool weather. So if you're trying to grow calendula in the middle of a hot summer where the degrees are like, I don't know, 90 degrees and up, you are going to have a challenge. So if you've tried to grow calendula and as soon as I said this was easy, you were like, no, it might be because the temperatures are not right for you. So just remember, cool calendula, okay? So keep it cool and calendula is going to love you. So calendula is in the aster plant family, but as you can see, it looks kind of different than most of the lettuces. But the flowers tend to have similar patterns to other aster plant family members. And it's the flowers that we're most interested in with the calendula plant. So calendula has all these benefits to put it into your kitchen garden. One of the benefits is that it actually attracts bad pests to it and keeps those pests off the rest of your garden. So it's been proven that when you have calendula in your garden, you'll actually have less pests on the rest of your plants. So it's either going to attract those bad pests to it, so those pests spend their time on the calendula flowers and not on your food, or that they'll smell the calendula or see it and just be repelled from the garden altogether. Now, is this magic? No. And does this mean you're never going to have bad pests in your garden? No. It's just one simple thing you can do to make your garden a little less frustrating in terms of pests. Now, it repels the bad bugs, but it actually does something else. It brings in the good ones. So these flowers and the way their pollen and little nectar setup is there in nature brings in bees and butterflies to your garden. So calendula is a great thing to plant near your plants that need to have pollination. So things like cucumbers or squash or zucchini or even tomatoes. It's really great to have calendula somewhere near them. Now, like I said, calendula loves the cool season. So sometimes those plants are more warm season plants. So you'd want to be sure your calendula is set up and growing when it's cooler so that when the warmer temperatures come, it's well established in the garden, the roots are nice and deep, and it can keep growing even as temperatures rise. So calendula repels the bad bugs, brings in the good bugs, and it also is edible. So these petals, each of these little petals is actually edible. You can do lots of things with it. You can use them in like fancy little pastry dishes and put it in like an herb butter or some kind of special gourmet dip. But the way I like to use it most often is just to make tea. So what I do pretty frequently, I left this all at different stages of blooms to show you the differences. But I'll show you when I think is the optimal time to come in and harvest calendula flowers. So right here you have a flower bud that's just about to break open, and even before that one you can see here. So this is the first stage. It starts to form and it's got all those little petals inside of it. Here they're starting to break open, and this all happens in like matters of days, right? So this is probably day 1, this is probably day 2, and this is probably day 3. You can see it's starting to come open a little bit more. Then we probably hit day 4, which is here where it's kind of tiny, and then probably by day 5 or day 6 we start to get a full flower head like this. And it's right at this stage that you want to harvest because you're getting the most amount of petals for the harvest, and you're also grabbing it before it starts to dry and go to seed on the plant. which Calendula, by the way, loves to do. So all I'm going to do is come in, and I'm actually going to go all the way to the base of where this starts to node off to another stem and cut the whole stem just like that. But the only part I'm going to save of this harvest is the actual flower head. So I'll just cut right there and then place the flower head in my little strainer and bring it inside to dehydrate. So I'm going to harvest like this. I'm going to harvest this one as well. And again, I'll go all the way down, cut it, and then keep the flower head here to save. Now, these ones that have already started to dry out, you can see like this. What I'm going to do with this one is actually just leave it on the stem. Now I can go ahead and grab these petals, bring them inside and add them to the tea that I'm going to make with the other ones. The flavor is probably not going to be quite as good, but what I'm going to do with this is let it stay because seeds are actually going to form right here on the flower head. Pretty fun. So I'm going to go in quickly. I think maybe this one is ready to harvest as well. So I'll take a harvest of that one, and then I'm going to let the rest of the plant continue to flower and form more petals for me. Let me show you what happens after I dry these out. So I'll bring them in. I'm going to put them in a dehydrator, or you can even just kind of let them sit on a flat tray in a cool, dry place. And what happens probably within, I would say, 2 weeks, is you end up with these super dried out petals. And this is what you'll use to make your tea or your salve or whatever you want to create with your calendula. This is really what you want it to look like before you start to make something with it. So one danger before you want to jar this up, you want to be sure that your petals have completely dried out, like there's absolutely no moisture in them whatsoever. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some nasty stuff like mold or mildew or, you know, stuff that you definitely don't want in your tea. So what I generally do all throughout the season is I gather up my petals and save them and save them and save them, keep them stored in my office in a cool, dry place. And I really wait until, you know, mid-fall, something like that, to pull them all together and store them in my jar. And then I get a little taste of summer all winter long. So those are a few simple tips to growing what I think is one of the easiest edible flowers to grow in the kitchen garden. And I want to close up by showing you what the seeds look like when they form on the flower head. But I'm going to bring you to another plant to show you that. All right, so this plant isn't thriving quite as much as the other one. I think it was a little crowded out, but it's reviving, and I wanted to show you how the seeds form on these flower heads. Part of probably why it's struggling is because I have not been harvesting the blooms like I was on the other plant. So I'm going to cut this one off. So this is already fully bloomed, and I want to show you what the seeds look like. They really are so cool. I like to say they almost look like little squids. So there's one tiny one. I don't know if you guys can see that in my little grandma hands. Let me try one more. All right, so what you do is let that fully dry on the plant. You pick it off, and then you basically are just going to kind of sift it. And if you can see that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 or 6 calendula seeds from that one flower head. And if I had let it sit there a little bit longer, we probably would get even more. So what you can do with these seeds is you could even just drop them right here in the garden if you want them to reseed themselves. But what I do is save the seeds, especially of the plants that I love the most, and then I will replant them next season to get to do this again and again and again. This is one of the reasons why I think calendula is one of the easiest edible flowers to grow, is because the seeds are so large and they kind of reproduce themselves. I find that the larger the seed in the plant, in general, the easier the plant is to grow in the garden. So calendula is definitely one of those, and has a really unique seed to be in the same plant family as the asters, because most aster seeds are about this big. So that's how you harvest your calendula seed, and that's going to put you on track to basically grow calendula for the rest of your life. So if you are ready to grow calendula or something else in your own kitchen garden, and you want to figure out where you should start next, what you should do in your gardening journey, we created the Green Thumb Quiz to help you do just that. So it's a super fun, quick quiz, just a few questions that you can answer, and will help you know where you are on your gardening journey, and then give you a resource, a free resource to help you grow to the next level. So you can check it out right here below this video. We have a link to take the Green Thumb Quiz. So go check it out. Come back and tell me what kind of gardener you are, or at least what kind of gardener we think you are, and tell me if you agree. Thanks so much for watching the Gardenary channel. Be sure to subscribe, stick around. We have so many more videos and tutorials coming your way. Here's to you growing tons of calendula in your garden this year. I'll see you next time.